I will tell you one concept which is synchronizing timer. Okay, you able to hear me, right? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So we have a concept in performance testing. That concept is called rendezvous point. Okay, rendezvous point. So what this rendezvous point is, currently when we are running the load test, or if it is a load test or stress test or endurance test, whatever the test is, the users will run concurrently. The users will run concurrently. That means that means concurrency is when you are running a test. We have given ramp. We will give ramp up, right? Like when we are running 500 user load test, we'll give ramp up, slow ramp up, and users will slowly ramp up. They will do different activities. Like few users will do login. Few users, while few users are logging in, some users will go to fund transfer transaction. And while few users are doing fund transfer transaction, some users will go to bill payment transaction. Right. So if we are running with 500 concurrent users, it is not that all 500 concurrent users will not click on login. Some users will go for login, like 60 users might log in, 20 users might do fund transfer, like 10 users might do bill payment. Like that, it will happen. This is called concurrent. But there is another thing called simultaneous. So what this simultaneous is, if we are running with 500 users, and if we are running a simultaneous test, then all 500 users should call on login. All 500 users should do fund transfer. All 500 users should do bill pay. So that type of scenario is, we call in performance testing as rendezvous point. So this rendezvous point is a point where, see, in here I am running the test with 5 users in this particular diagram, right? So 5 users opening the application, they are logging in, and after that there is a rendezvous point. That means what will happen? This rendezvous point will give before the search product. So what will happen is, it will wait for all these 5 users to come to this rendezvous point, and suddenly the search products will happen with all 5 users at the same time. Okay, so that is called rendezvous point. To achieve this rendezvous point, we have a timer in Jmeter. That timer is called synchronizing timer, right? So we learned about think time, constant, uh, like constant timer, uniform random timer, and pacing constant throughput timer, precise throughput timer, right? So this timer is different from those two, those timers, right? This is synchronizing timer. So let me open Jmeter. I cannot run now, but I'll run and show it to you once this is downloaded, but it's downloading really slow. Then Jmeter again is showing. Yeah, it won't open because we don't have Java. Anyway, I'll show this practically tomorrow. But today's topic is really important because I wanted to cover synchronizing timer today, and I want to cover a little slow today. And based on that little slow, I thought of covering this throughput shaping timer. But with this, I don't think we can we can run any test today. It's really the slow. Okay, let's do one thing today. Ravi and others, you asked me if you have any doubts till this point.
Okay, sir.
Till now, I have covered many topics, right? So till this point, do you have any doubts or any practical application, like you are in projects? If you have any doubts, something related to your projects regarding performance testing, you can ask me.
Okay, sir. The you talked about mobile load testing, right? So how is that done? Like, is it done through a mobile device or?
Okay, yeah. So the mobile load testing,
Yeah.
it is done through web service calls. Mobile load testing will be done through web service calls. Okay, one straight answer. That's it. So it is. We don't have a UI for mobile, right? It doesn't work from browser, right?
Right.
So mobile load testing is something different. So it doesn't work from browser. When I say it doesn't work from browser, at the same time you cannot do the load testing from your mobile device. You cannot use your iPhone or Android phone to do performance testing. That kind of tools, I don't think it has come. We don't have that facility, right?
Right.
If functional testing you can do, but non-functional testing like performance testing and all, you cannot do using your mobile device. So what we are doing is, in mobile application, for example, you have a mobile application, ICICI Bank mobile application, where you will open the application. When you open the application, there is a backend web service call which happens, right? And when you log in, there is another web service call. And when you do fund transfer, there is a different web service call. These are web service calls. So you need to get those web service call endpoints from your development team. Based on that endpoints, you need to collect all the web service call endpoints from your development team. And using those endpoints, you have to do this performance testing for mobile load testing. And how to do performance testing with using web service calls or API calls, I will tell you. There is a topic.
Okay.
So the same way you need to do load testing for your mobile app. Yeah.
Okay. So we would need the development team support in that
Correct.
mobile
Yes,
test.
definitely. Because they have the backend web service calls. So you need to connect with them. You need to take the web service calls from them. We have a mobile application, right?
Yep.
I'm working on the mobile application as well. So we'll go through this. We'll test through using this web service calls.
Okay. So generally, like
Huh.
from your experience, are the backend services that are used for mobile and for a browser, are they not similar? Are they different? Because in development, I thought probably they use the same backend services
Mhm.
uh, for uh, for both mobile as well as a browser. Is it not the same? Do they use different web services?
So in our definitely different web services, because see, take an example of my application which I am working for. We have, according to our application architecture for mobile, there is a, there is a different backend services
Okay.
servers, and for internet banking there is different flow, different backend services. So definitely the flow
Okay.
is different. So we have different web service calls.
Okay. Mm. Sir, you are also talking about these are all what we are dealing with is mostly HTTP requests, right?
Correct. These are web-based requests.
Yeah.
Whatever we have discussed till this point, everything
Yeah.
is HTTP based. Web.
I think at some point maybe I might have heard. I think you were talking about FTP requests also.
Correct. Correct. Yes. At
Yeah.
some point you will get FTP. At some point you will get JDBC,
All
which is
right.
database testing. All those things will be there. So I will
Mm.
give you the concepts of FTP and JDBC
Okay.
when I go to the samplers section.
Okay.
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 So I have that clearly there. JDBC. Yes. JDBC request, right?
Right.
So you can test your database itself. We are doing that now in our projects again. So the advantage of having JDBC request is, like, unlike HTTP request, FTP and JDBC requests are different. Like FTP is file transfer protocol, right? JDBC is, you can test your database requests, like you can test your queries and all, right? So using this JDBC request, you can create test data. What is test data? What we are testing, like for load test, you need users, right? How many users you need? You might need thousands of users for your load test, right? Who will give you those users? You have to get those users from the database, right? Might be initially your database team might help you, but not always they'll help you. You need to take the queries from the database team and you need to automate those, and you have to get the required users, right? So for my application, I'm getting my users using this JDBC request. I have created a JDBC script using Jmeter. So based on that script, I have collected queries like update queries, I will search a select queries. I'll use select queries to get the users. And sometimes those users are not in active state. They might go to dormant state or they are inactive. I need to make them active. Otherwise, we cannot log in with those users. So to make those users active, we have an update query. Update query to make the users active, right? And select query to get the users, to find out the users, right? So these will be in some tables, right? So I need to make some queries like select star from table will be something like this. Some where we have business ID also, because we are dealing with different countries, right? So if I want users related to Kenya, I have to give the business ID for the Kenya, something like this, KEBRB. If I need to get the users for Ghana, I have to give GHBRB. So just forget about BRB. GH is the country code, right?
Right. Yeah.
And if you want to get the users, only active users, if you want to find out only active users, then you just give status equal to active. So you can get only active users in the list. And sometimes active users will also doesn't work because the password might get expired. Then you have another query to reset the password. Okay, another update query to password reset. Like that, we have to collect all these queries. And how you need to create a script? This select statement, select query should be in one JDBC request. Update query should be in the next JDBC request, right? And this password reset query should be in next JDBC, right? What I will do, I will first run the test. While I'm running the script, it will first run this particular query, right? From this query, I will get the list of active users, right? I will get the list of active users. That means I might get 200, 300, 400 users. So from that, I have to take the first user. First iteration, I have to take the first user. Second iteration, I have to take the second user, right? Like that. So in my next request, what I have to do, I have to create a web script. What kind of web script? In the top, in this statement, in this select statement, I am getting the user, right? So I need to check if that user is working or not, right?
Right.
So I have to create a login, logout script using HTTP request. So what this will check? If above user is working or not. Okay.
Okay.
So I have to give those if conditions and all, right? If it is not working, then only it has to go to the next step, right? So I have to give the if controller or something. If this login logout script is not working, that indicates that the password is not working, right? If the
Right.
password is not working, it has to go to the if condition and it has to maybe this is not required because we have picked already active users. We have to update the password. We have to reset the password, right? And after resetting the password, again we have to again run the same request. Maybe use module controller here and go back to this login logout script and run. And if it is working, it will not go again to this particular request. It will come out. Like that, we have to create some automated scripts and generate the test data for us, for ourselves. So no one will give us test data, right? So this is how we. So it is for our project. In your project, so tomorrow you might be having different kind of queries and all, but the process remains the same. Okay. In our project, we have Postgres database. In your project, you might be having Oracle database. So the queries and all you need to get it from your database too, right? So and the tables and all will differ, right? So we have two types of users for a banking application. We have two types of users. One type of user is retail user. One type of user is business users, right? For our African bank, retail and business. Which users you think in reality, in real time, most of the users will be retail users, right? So you have to give 80% of your retail users in your test data, and only 20% must be business. This also you need to make sure while you are running the test. So when you are picking the users using these queries, you have to pick 80% retail users. Only few must be business users. Like that, based on your business requirement and all, you need to create the test data and conduct the load test. Right? Is it clear, Ravi?
Yes, sir. So generally that will be like, I thought maybe it's what is in the application flow, the same queries is what we test. So let's say if we are, for example, logging into application and then like creating a customer and then logging out, maybe the JDBC
No,
testing.
there will be backend queries, right?
Yeah, so the same backend queries we
Correct,
done.
correct.
Okay.
That also see this is one part. Using JDBC request, we can create our test data for our load test. This is one part.
Okay.
And also, as you said, we can also do the database load testing also using the queries which you said. Because while you are logging in, while you are doing transactions, there will be backend database calls, right?
Right.
So
Right.
those queries also we can get from the database admin, and we can
Okay.
do the load test. But it should be based on the requirement. So see, first of all, you here when you are doing your load test using web application, that means you are doing end-to-end load test. When you are doing a load test on web application, that will when that load test is on browser level, right? So when you are doing a browser level load test, the calls will go to your web server, application server, database server, it will come back. That
It's
means you are
complete.
doing an end-to-end load test, a complete load test. And why there is a point in doing a load test only for your database when you're doing an end-to-end load test, right?
Right.
So it should be based on requirement. We have done database load test also recently because we had a we had database migration recently.
Okay.
Our database was used to be Oracle. So Oracle database has been migrated to Postgres,
Okay.
Postgres, PostgreSQL.
Hmm.
So we our development teams and DevOps team or like our database team requested us to conduct a load test on database level. So I have conducted two load tests. on application level, which will trigger this database queries, and on database level also, because this is a database migration. So I want to check how the database is behaving in Oracle and how it is behaving in Postgres. I want to compare both. How can I compare? It is little difficult to compare these database queries when I am running end-to-end load test on browser level, right?
Right. Yeah.
You might see difference in the response times when you are doing end-to-end load test on browser level for Oracle and Postgres. But that difference in response times can be because of your database and can be because of your servers also. You don't know.
Yeah.
So in order to identify or in order to find out the reason, if it is because of database or not, then you need to test the database queries directly, hit the database queries directly. So using Jmeter, you can also hit the database queries directly with the load. Okay. So using your SQL developer and all, you can hit your database queries, but you can only hit once, right? But using Jmeter, you can hit your database queries, but with the load. You can give 100, 200 sessions, user threads, and you can run the load test with the database queries. So by doing that, you will know how your queries are performing in Oracle and how your queries are performing in Postgres. Where is there any deviation in response times in Postgres? Yes, we got many issues initially. Those were fixed because we have done database load test directly. If we would have done, we have done end-to-end application like browser level load test also. But by doing that, we cannot identify database level issues that easily. So in such cases, if there is a database migration in your if your project is a database migration itself, then you can do database system. Otherwise, there is no point in doing database.
Okay.
Okay. If that is a normal release, then your database will be the same.
See. Yeah.
Then there is no point in doing database. So you have to analyze first the requirement. If there is a requirement of doing database testing or not. Yeah.
So if there are, I mean, is the normal job description of performance tester, does it include the analysis of the cause, the causes
Of course,
the
yes,
performance?
yes.
Do they expect a performance tester to identify that, or?
Of course, yes. That is our main job. So what Kiran, what Ravi is asking is, as a performance tester, do we need to analyze the root cause of issues? Yes, right. We need to analyze like a 3-year or 4-year tester, a 3-year or 4-year performance tester can only do scripting and execution. No one will ask. But 5+ year or 6+ year candidate should be able to do scripting, execution, and also analysis. Scripting, execution, and also analysis. How can we do analysis? By monitoring, right? So monitoring. Okay. Like 3 to 4 years, not even 4 years, maybe 3 years experience candidate can do scripting and execution. There will not be much expectation from him. Scripting and execution is fine. But a candidate who is having more than 5 or 6 years experience, everyone will expect him to handle a project completely. When you are handling a project completely, end-to-end performance testing project, you should do everything. That means you should cover all the 6 stages. What are our 6 stages? Requirement gathering. Requirement gathering, test planning, test design, execution, monitoring, and analysis, reporting, and everything you have to cover. So when your experience is increasing as a performance tester, you have to do end-to-end testing. Initially, as a 2-3 year candidate, you will be placed under a particular lead, and he will take care of things, and you will be mostly involved in scripting and execution. But going forward, definitely you have to handle end-to-end performance testing, because unlike functional testing, performance testing has very, very less team. That means I'm the only person in my entire bank. I'm the only performance tester who will do. I have to do end-to-end performance testing, right? In that case, if I'm the only tester, right? So things will be like that. So they expect performance tester to do end-to-end load test, end-to-end testing. So monitoring, analysis, and all plays a major role in performance.
So are we going to cover any monitoring
Yes,
tools?
yes, right. And not monitoring tools. Let me tell you. Ah. Server monitoring using Jmeter is one topic which I'm going to cover. You can also monitor your servers using Jmeter. There are some plugins. There is something called Perfmon plugin. There is a Perfmon plugin in Jmeter where you
Okay.
can install that plugin, integrate that plugin to Jmeter. And there is something called server agent. Okay, there are two components. One is Perfmon plugin, which you have to install, integrate it to the JMeter. The same process. You need to copy that jar file and put that in library folder or something. Yeah, that is one step. And the second step is server agent. So that server agent file you need to copy and put it in the server. What is your server? You have to put that in your application server,
App server. Yeah.
in your app server, right? So
Right.
after doing that, you need to restart your JMeter and then you can monitor your service. That process and all I'll explain.
And the same thing applies for the database server also, right? So, or is it different?
Yeah. But yes, it applies for any server. But here you can only monitor your CPU and memory. Your
Okay.
database server also has CPU and memory. It monitors
Okay.
that. Your web service has CPU, memory. Not only CPU, memory, network, disk, and all are there. Right? It monitors everything. So basically, it monitors any server, database, application, web server, any kind of server. But what it is monitoring is more important. What it is monitoring? It
CPU usage.
uh, it monitors only CPU, memory, disk, and network usage. Not more than that. Not even network. Yeah, these three things. So what are these? These three things are called. These are OS metrics, OS level metrics, operating system metrics. These are called OS level metrics. But in performance testing, when it comes to monitoring and analysis, there are a lot of things. These are basic monitoring. So this basic monitoring on CPU, memory, and disk level, you can monitor using JMeter. Okay, but in-depth monitoring. So OS metrics you can monitor using JMeter, and there are also different types of free tools where you can monitor your CPU, memory, and disk. I will tell that. But this is you cannot you should not stop here. Okay, most of the performance issues, if you are testing and if your CPU is increasing to 90% or 100%, and you will say to your customer or to your manager that we are doing a load test, we have monitored, and we see increase in CPU, and they'll straight away ask you why there is an increase in CPU. Then what is your answer? For example, if your memory is increasing to 90%, 100%, and you monitored using this Perfmon plugin, and you will inform them, you will send a report to them that your memory is increasing to 90%, 100%. And again, they'll ask you why. How do you know the reason? So there is a deeper level monitoring as well. If your CPU is increasing, which process, which process level CPU is high? Which process level CPU is high? So there are different processes, right? So in your task manager, if you go to your task manager also, the background process, right? So this, if you go to the performance section, that will give, sorry. So you can open your task manager in your laptop also. If you go to the performance section, that will give you the CPU and memory utilization. It is closing, I'm not sure why. Okay. It will give the CPU and memory. Okay.
Okay.
But which process CPU is high and all, you'll come to know if you go to this process section. Like each and every process has CPU, and currently which processes are running. These are the processes which are running. These are the background processes. And Adobe Reader CPU is around how much? 0%, 0%, and task like Zoom CPU is 5%, and memory. See, this is the memory utilization and all, right? It will give the process level, application level CPU. This also you need to monitor in your server, right? The same way in your server also, in your application server also, your application server might be having many processes and many applications in your server, right? But the application related to your project, to your bank, whatever you are testing. For example, if you are doing a testing for ICICI Bank, ICICI.exe file will be there in your Linux application server. That particular application CPU you need to monitor, right? So that level monitoring also you need to do. And when it comes to memory, if memory is high, you should not stop there. You need to like analyze why the memory is high. You have something called heap memory. You have something called garbage collection and all. So these concepts also I'm going to cover, right? So if memory is high, why it is high? Any issue with your heap memory? Any issue with your garbage collection? What is a garbage collection? Why? How the garbage collection will happen? What is the pattern of garbage collection and all? How it should look like and all? It is also important. So these concepts are performance engineering concepts, which I'm going to cover for sure, but mostly theoretical concepts. Okay. So this level of monitoring also you need to do. Okay. And app dynamics. I don't have tool, but I'll cover what is needed for app dynamics, like what are different components you have in app dynamics, like machine agent, okay, app agent, DB agent, EUM, end user monitoring and all. What every agent will do, how do we install the agents, how does the app, how the monitoring will go on in app dynamics and all, that also I'll cover. And till now, whatever we discussed is all about our application server, right? The CPU, memory, heap memory, garbage collection, everything is related to your application server, right? So your heap memory, garbage collection, and all that will happen in your application server only. If it's a Java-based application, heap memory and garbage collection is related to your Java-based application only. So it all happens in the application server. The concepts of this I'll cover. Don't worry. But how do you monitor your database? Using Perfmon, Perfmon agent and like using Perfmon plugin and that concept, you can only monitor your CPU and memory of your database. But is that what you need to monitor in your database? No. How the queries are performing, how your queries are performing, right? Like what are your top 10 queries? And all that also important, right? In your database. Based on that only we can identify which queries are taking more time, and so that your database admin can fix. So these also are important. So this is how your monitoring should start. You need to start your monitoring by monitoring your basic OS metrics, which is CPU, memory, disk, and all, right? And after that, next step is to monitor your process level monitoring and all, right? After that, go to your heap memory, garbage collection, see how those are behaving. After that, we can discuss what app dynamics monitors. App dynamics Java machine agent will monitor this OS metrics. Java agent will monitor, like app agent will monitor this heap memory, garbage collection, hmm? Thread level details, and also process level details and all. And also, when it is a Java application, what will be there? Classes, methods, and all will be there. Right? So this app agent will do method level monitoring also. Which method is taking more time? That way, we'll understand why the particular response time is high for fund transfer. If fund transfer response time is high, if it is taking 20 seconds in our load test, we need to identify why it is taking 20 seconds, right? If we say CPU is high, that is not the right answer. Why that fund transfer response time is high? You need to identify. You can only identify using this app agent in App Dynamics. You have to go to that fund transfer, which method is triggering that fund transfer. You have to go to that method level and identify which method is taking more time. If you give that culprit method to your developer, he can fix it. So this is how you need to monitor during your load test. But monitoring and analyzing, identifying the performance bottlenecks and analyzing is our part. But fixing, is it our part? No. Or yes. Fixing is the part of your development team. Fixing is the part of your database admin team. So fixing is the part of your DevOps team. It's not our job. Okay. Until this point only we have to. Does it answer your question, Ravi?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? I don't think I can take the actual class today because anyway we are almost 9:20 now and still it is very slow. Maybe tomorrow I'll get the old laptop and I'll continue the class from tomorrow. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll continue from tomorrow. Ravi, any other doubts?
Yes. So during the regular script run,
Yeah.
is there any, sometimes would there be any need to enable JavaScripts on the client side? I mean, would there be, other than running validating on the client side, the JavaScripts that run on the client side, would there be any time that we enable the JavaScript so that there is some additional communication happening with the server which is not captured in the URL?
No, I didn't come across such things, never, in my 14 years experience. No, never.
Because sometimes when for the application, when I record it, the data that is sent in the subsequent request,
Okay.
That is not appearing in the previous sampler, like sampler response. So would there be any other communication happening other than this, the sampler we sent?
So which tool are you using that time?
The same Jmeter.
Okay.
Okay. The first thing was there were too many responses that, too many samplers that got generated.
Okay.
Which actually did not map with the action that I was doing. If I was clicking a certain button, the 30, 40 samplers that got generated. And that is the first problem.
So what those 30, 40 samplers contains? Maybe the JS files, CSS files, which are not necessary, right? Non-HTML resources, which we can filter.
Yes, it was not that. It was like a regular service invocation, like get segment.
Okay.
Sure. It looked like a regular unsuspicious kind of, not the files that we were talking about, but then it was taking some variables like AB is equal to something, CT is equal to something as the parameters, which I could not find in the previous. When I run it, it wasn't there in the previous.
First of all, is that a web-based application?
Yes, sir. It is a web-based.
Then definitely you will find. I think we need to find the right way to correlate that or something. But otherwise, definitely we should find it. There is no other way. Like
Oh, yeah.
definitely 100% you should find it. If
Oh.
you are not, if you are not finding it, so it is recording, right?
It
First
is
of all,
recording, sir.
it is recording.
Yeah,
And
actually,
also, have you tried comparing that with your what is this developer tools? Is the developer tools also generating the same kind of requests or not? Or any additional requests are you seeing in developer tools?
oh, did not try
That
that.
you can check. That you
Oh,
can check. One thing. And if it is generating any additional request, maybe in that request you will find whatever you need. That is one thing. And try to record that in Jmeter also. See, sometimes not all the time you can record easily using your Jmeter HTTPS test script record. You will find many challenges in your project, right?
okay. This I did with Blazemeter, but I'd never compared with the developer tools actually. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll try that. Thanks.
Yeah, just try that. Try that with developer tools and let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. దాన్ని మాక్ చేసేస్తారు. Yes, captcha, OTP and all that. They will mock that while you are testing. So you can enter any kind of OTP, like any digit, any 4 digit, any 5 digit. We have that. We have that. Yeah. So we can do that. They'll mock it because for our testing we cannot do like that, right? The OTP is coming to our mobile. How can we test it? So they'll mock it. That and all they'll do it. You don't need to tell them also. Huh? Ah. Appudu you need to change your scripts. Ah. Huh. Yes. Why? Not required. Not required. Script remains the same. Correct. No, no, no. Okay, 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 okay. So continuous coding ante it is monthly or daily? How is it? Monthly releases kada adi? But releases will happen in a professional like official way, like they'll raise a change request and do the code changes in a weekend, right? For that we need to do ఏంట్రా నోట్లో we need to do we have to do if it is a release monthly release we have to do ours is also monthly release so we will do so in our scenario what will happen so we have 1 month time right in first 2 months first 1 week dev team will develop so the code will be in which environment dev second it will go to sit they will test there third from sit to UAT so once they give UAT sign off it will be in NFT low what we'll do load test so load test will be conducted only in NFT environment non-functional test environment so by the time the code comes to NFT we will have only 1 week or maybe 7 to 8 days that's it so what will we do in the 7 to 8 days so we have
The UAT means client server. No? After client server, we will do the NFT.
sorry
Yeah. After a client deployment, we will do the NFT or before NFT we will do.
after deployment after developers deploy the new code on NFT then only we will do performance testing right
Okay.
so
After deploying it to the client server, then we will do the.
correct so after that this production go live will be there right
Okay. After NFT, it will go to
it
live.
will go to go live production go live so here functional testing will happen so here performance testing will happen. So by the time we reach to this NFT, there should not be any functional issues. That is the rule, right? So there won't be any functional issues mostly. But how much time we'll have? We'll have 1 week time. In that 1 week time, we have to update our scripts. We have to make our scripts ready. And after that, we need to run our tests. And if there are any issues with our tests, we have to report those. So what we will do in our project, what I'll do is I'll set up calls because there is very less time. I'll directly set up calls with development team, DevOps team, and all that. I'll involve everyone in that call. I'll set up a meeting, and in that meeting itself, I will do live performances. We call that war room. I'll set up a meeting for around 6-7 hours, almost that whole day. So we'll do continuous performance tests. I'll report. They'll do their monitoring while the performance test is going on. The DevOps team will do monitoring in the servers. There are any issues, they'll fix it. Again, I'll do test. So that will happen. So that is how in our team we are doing performance testing. But it differs with each and every team. So you should also do the same way in your project. If it's a monthly release, you will find very less time for performance testing, but you have to do performance testing. Without performance testing, most of the projects nowadays are going to the live. And what is happening? Slowness and all are coming, right? So many issues are coming. So take example of my project only. Every release there is at least 1 or 2 performance issues are coming. So if I skip this performance testing, there will be definitely issues after go live. 100%. So that importance is there for performance testing, but sadly, most people are not understanding the importance of performance testing. It's very, very important. Any other questions?
One last question. Do we have to filter JSON files also from the request? Or
No, we should not. No.
Okay.
We should not filter JSON files.
Okay.
Because that is JSON files are application related files, right?
Right.
Actually, we are not filtering anything, right? We are just clicking on that excludes suggested by Jmeter.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
in those suggestions, I don't think JSON will be there. So it won't get filtered.
It's not there in that. So, but okay. The problem I had faced, I had a lot of JSON samplers. So
Okay.
yeah. So just checking.
I don't think we should not.
Okay.
Okay, shall we continue the class from tomorrow? Sorry that I cannot continue the class today because of these issues and all. But fine, we had a good discussion, right?
Yeah, thanks.
This is more important actually.
Yeah.
More than the classes, practical discussions are very important. So you can come up with more and more questions like this. Maybe you can ask me daily, or we can have a weekly one session on this discussions practical. This practical discussions and clarifications will help you more than the sessions what we are having on daily basis. These practical discussions are very important. Okay, fine. We'll meet tomorrow. Yeah, no problem.